And greetings, Inquisitors. Thank you for stopping by this holocron. I have a guest with me here today. Fingaz started his main account about the same time that I started my main account. We've been shard mates for a couple of years now. He also has an alternate account, and we were chatting a little bit about the changes that he's making to his alt account for the new Grand Arena. Thought it would be nice to have another one of these conversations and just talk a little bit about where he's at and where he's going. So, how you doing today?
Pretty good. Appreciate you having me.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about your main account. What got you into the game, and how did you build your main account when you started?
Well, I actually picked up the game randomly, just sitting at my wife's mother's house for Thanksgiving one year, and I didn't know anything about it. So when I first started playing, I watched a lot of videos online and was, kind of following a lot of the guides that existed out there. And while I was leveling the account, the hyperdrive bundle came out. So I
Yep.
bought that, and that kind of boosted my account, to 85 and got me a lot of characters and things like that. But I still made a lot of mistakes on that account because I didn't know, for example, that the hyperdrive pretty much sets you up to buy, go get Jedi Knight Revan right away. I kept farming Phoenix and working on Palpatine and building a rebel fleet and, just doing everything wrong, more or less.
So, so yeah, I mean, I started my alt account for a lot of that reason. My main account, I did some things wrong and kind of felt like it held me back from potential in Grand Arena. So I started my alt thinking like, how would I do it if I did it over again? What motivated you to start an alt account?
Well, I honestly, it was kind of running out of things to do in the game. Uh, so I started the alt account, and at first I decided I just wanted to do it completely differently than I did the main, and not make the same mistakes, obviously, that I made the first time around, but also build into teams that my main wasn't working on. Because you and I did squad arena for a long time, as you know. If you're building the meta team, you're busy building the meta team, and you have to basically build it all the way to be as good as it can be. And that takes a lot of resources.
It takes
So
all
when
your
I
resources. Yeah.
exactly. So when I built the alt, I really wanted to uh, I wanted to focus on fleet first, which is something that I didn't do, on my main account. I did that second, and I lost out on a lot of gems there because a lot of people just don't focus on fleet, and Grand Arena became my favorite part of the game as I was playing. And so when I built the alt, I really wanted to do two things. I wanted to be able to focus on getting first in fleet and build a pretty solid GAC roster.
Nice. So talk us through that. What was a good GAC roster to you at that time?
At that time, I started with separatists and building the geos because I thought they were the best fleet you could get quickly, in the game and do well in fleet arena.
Okay.
So I did that, built all of the separatists, and Grievous included,
Well,
right?
let's take a look at some of your stuff. You can show us your squads or whatever you want to do, and kind
Yeah,
of talk
fair.
us through what you
So,
built.
well, first thing I did was really focused on separatists because I felt like their fleet was the best that you could get early game,
I agree.
and and naturally you're going to get Grievous, out of the store, and
Yep.
a lot of his characters can be bought, and so B1's kind of the only one you really need to really farm much of. So I kind of built into him as well. And in the process of building this, you get Newt and Asajj and a lot of the other characters as well. But that kind of builds into Padme. So I went ahead and focused on Galactic Republic as the second faction that I wanted to do on this account.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I did that was because that got me Padme, but it also allowed me to build into the Negotiator as my next fleet,
Yep.
and then kind of build into Gaz. So my initial, the main goal of this account initially was to build those two factions and then get Gaz, and that's where I've gotten to along the way. I kind of sidetracked and got CLS and Jedi Knight Revan, but for the most part, that's what I've gotten through so far.
So to be clear, then you're at 3.4 million galactic power. You were, I think, sitting right below 3.1, right? Because you weren't ready with fleets yet, so you were kind of hanging on under that next division.
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
so you're at 3.1 with no galactic legend then.
Correct.
And honestly, you weren't really going for galactic legend. You were building more good meta teams. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I was basically kind of working my way through the journey guide. So my plan was, now that I was finishing, I just unlocked Gaz. I'm very close to Beskar Mando, so I was kind of looking at him as a defensive team, and I kind of had the Executor in the back of my mind,
Okay.
on this account because I get first in fleet, so I was kind of building towards that.
Yeah.
But after that, I was going to do Revan, uh, and then start working on First Order for BB-8, and kind of work towards Jedi Master Luke as my first GL on this account. But
Okay.
I was going to take my time getting there.
All right. And how did this account perform in Grand Arena? What was your win loss ratio like?
I usually would go. I'd get Kyber pretty much every GAC. I'd usually have a loss or two somewhere in there. That was because I was trying to keep my relics low on this account, but as I started building up for keeping first in Fleet Arena, I had to push a few relics up, and I started noticing as I got my first relics over Relic 5, I started running into like Relic 7 Darth Revan teams, or Gaz teams in Grand Arena, and they would be difficult for me to deal with because I didn't have an answer for them.
Okay. So you've got a lot of
Um,
relic one, two, three.
right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Prior to that, like most people, when they build their accounts, they kind of focus on a lot of damage dealers. Most of my relics were on pilots, right? If we look at my
Yep.
ships, um, most of my relics are here. But they built into the squads that I have now, and they perform really, really strongly in Grand Arena. Um, and I've gone and gotten some other characters that now I know from playing the game, are just great to have, right?
Yeah.
For Grand Arena.
Yeah. And just to be clear, I mean, for anybody watching this, having the advantage in fleet in Grand Arena is it's so powerful. I mean, you can't uh, if you haven't played with the fleet advantage, then the strategies that you can use for your defensive placement change. The ability for you to hold your opponent, and if you've got good fleets, you can hold your opponent and also still beat his fleet. It's just a great feeling to be that far ahead in fleets. So that investment in pilots, I think, is massive for winning Grand Arena.
Yeah, it is. I mean, with this account especially, or specifically at the beginning of Grand Arena, when you're not getting matched up against the best opponents, and I'd go to research my opponent, and I'd look at their fleets first, and if they didn't have a fleet that could beat mine, then I knew I'd already won.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah.
like that was it. So
That's awesome, isn't it?
yeah, and so the problem I'm running into is that, building the Geo fleet into Negotiator, and the teams that I built, got me Gaz, and, kind of got me my answer for Darth Revan, if you will. And, but as I've finished the Negotiator and started building the Malevolence, all those Geos went over there.
Mm-hmm.
So I only have two fleets now all of a sudden. And, I'm in a position, for GAC where now I'm, if I continue to do well, which I typically do, next season, I'm going to need 4 more teams and 2 more fleets
Yeah,
on
for
this
sure.
account.
Yep.
So that's been a big consideration for me, and why I kind of have to change the direction, I think, of how I'm handling things. Because I personally think, fleets, if you can focus on them and have stronger fleets than your opponent, all you have to do is clear the board and you win.
Yep.
Um, but I think what's going to happen is, I've got 2 problems on this account. One is I have to add all these additional teams and additional fleets that I'm not ready, that I don't have. But if I do well, eventually I'm going to start running into the accounts that have Galactic Legends.
Yep.
My main account has been putting down 2 fleets and has been, you could easily run into an account the size of my main account, down there potentially. Maybe not in the first season, but eventually, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So the bad players with big accounts may fall down, but at some point, if you're fighting up against a guy with 5.5 million, even if he's a bad player with bad mods, it's still tough to overcome 2 million
It
galactic power.
it is, but I go up against guys with GLs with this account all the time, and I beat most of them. And the
Yeah,
reason I beat them is I have a bigger roster, I have better fleets, and I can turn it into a half board fight,
exactly.
and
Yeah, and
just
they
play more efficiently than they do.
and they'll just run out of teams against you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, but eventually I'm gonna run into a guy that has, that Galactic Legend, and all those teams, and there's
Exactly.
nothing I can do about it.
Yep.
And so, I think, this account needs to get a Galactic Legend as quickly as possible at this point.
Okay.
Um,
So what GL are you thinking about?
so my plan was to go towards Jedi Master Luke because it unlocked the most characters, built the most, good teams out of it. But I think I'm still gonna go. I'm gonna go with Sith Eternal.
Okay.
Primary reason there is because you don't have to farm a fleet. Like, this account's 100% free to play. I haven't spent a penny on it, and I'm gonna continue to keep it that way. So, for me, the idea of getting Supreme Leader Kylo Ren or Rey, it means it's just a long farm, right? You have to get the fleets, and then you have to wait on the events for the finalizer and Raddus. So they're not really an option. I feel like Jedi Master Luke is too many journey guide characters and teams to unlock to get quickly. I could go for Kenobi, but I'm thinking about it from a GAC perspective. If I get Kenobi, that just kind of puts Padme on an island and takes a team away, and I'm not really gaining anything on my roster, and I think that's important when you're
I
GAC is about roster building. Yep,
yeah,
go ahead.
I would challenge that. I would challenge that
Okay,
thinking. So just for the fun of it, let's take a look at
sure.
the go to your journey guide and select the Kenobi journey, and then we'll come back into the characters tab and we'll look at that journey specifically for the characters that you've got.
Sure.
Because you have already built Grievous, and so if you just click begin journey there, I don't know
Oh,
if
I
you
see what you want to do. I gotcha.
yeah, and then go back to your character screen, and then select the journey guide down. Yeah, perfect. And so, I mean, your Wat Tambor is 8 shards away from 7 stars. That's not an issue. You've got Yoda, Shakti, Magna Guard, Grievous, already Relic, Cad Bane, Gear 11. So look how far along you are on this journey already. I mean, obviously you'll need to farm Bo-Katan, but Clone Sergeant is a ship that you're going to use in your Galactic Republic fleet already, so you don't mind relicking him, making that ship better. So this journey is just full of stuff that you don't mind having. And one of the interesting things I'm looking at, if you are you familiar with Qui-Gon Jinn's Omicron?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you
So
could put him with like Anakin.
so what I've been advising, my viewers, you could build like a Relic 7 Qui-Gon Jinn, make him really hard to kill, and then just put him in with like Gear 7 Jedi. Like literally who cares Jedi? And if they have 250 speed, that gives them 7,500 offense, and a Gear 7 Jedi can literally annihilate things under his leadership. So you can build a team with one relic and just garbage Jedi. It
Oh, I'm
doesn't even
curious.
matter.
Haven't focused much on Jedi here. Let's
That
see.
that's the beauty of it. You don't have to. You can throw in
Right.
Ezra Bridger and Kanan Jarrus and whatever other Jedi, Mace Windu. You got to build him for the build. Maybe just throw him in there. But they can't kill. Even if those Jedi are weak, they can't kill him until they kill Qui-Gon. So that becomes a team. You just throw it down on defense. You don't expect it to win, but all of a sudden you're pulling one of their good teams. They have to jump. They have to pay attention to that team. For the cost of one character.
I
So
feel like you need a really good damage dealer on that team though to make it work.
well,
And
they're all good damage dealers. I mean, again, everybody who's at 250 speed, then they're 280 when they get the plus 30 bonus from him, and they've all got like 9,000 offense. So,
yeah,
I mean,
I agree with you. I've kind of been hoarding the Omicrons
yeah, yeah.
to see what happens. Right, I wanna watch a stream or something and
Well,
see it in action before I put them on.
I'll be
I'm very
building.
curious about that one.
Yeah, I'll be building that team, so I'll be able to do some testing on it and show some stuff here in a couple weeks on my Loquitur account. So,
Nice.
but I think this journey for Jedi Master Kenobi is literally the most efficient GAC journey in the game because these characters all are in some way useful, and the Galactic Legend that you get out the other end is um,
It's the
the
best one right
best.
now. Yep.
So
For sure.
yeah, as long as you can manage the Relic 8 materials, which I think you're in a good enough guild, that's not a problem. So
No, I've already got them. Yeah, I'm good there.
yeah, so consider it. I mean, C is not a bad journey either. I love the troopers. They're a fantastic team that you get for building it. You've already got the Anakin from the Padme team. So,
Yeah, you make a good point. You see, I'm further away from him actually, probably.
yeah. Well, Kenobi has more
Because
synergy with the pilots and the stuff that you've already got. That's the thing.
true, but I'm also approaching it a little bit from a roster building perspective. If I drop this character in, what teams can I make,
Yeah.
in Grand Arena, and is it going to pull from one team, or am I just replacing a character and I have the same number of teams? So
Yeah, I got you.
at some point, when you're making that jump from one league to another, it's like, okay, well, I take it this route, I'm adding two teams to my roster versus replacing one,
Yeah.
or maybe adding. So that's slight edge, I guess, to why I was looking at this one.
Yeah. In the character screen, go look up the Jedi Guardian. So the Jedi Guardian's kind of a garbage character, right? And
Let's
one of the
see.
reasons why you would never build that character is because the base speed is like horrible. There's a lot about this character that's pretty bad. But if you put this character as the tank in your Kenobi
Yeah.
team, you don't want her to go fast. You want her to be slow. You don't ever want her to take a turn, right? Just get her damage immune and just let her sit there. And that
Yeah,
keeps
or let her be cat food.
yeah, and that keeps it from now you don't need your Kenobi for that team, and Padme still can be functional, and you put other stuff with Kenobi. And it's not the best version of the Kenobi team, but oftentimes you don't need the best Kenobi team in GAC. Now for Arena you want it, of course, but for GAC you can put some off characters with Kenobi and put him on defense, and still the opponent probably can't beat it. So there's some alternates there where you don't have to, as you said, you don't have to destroy your other teams to get Kenobi functioning.
Correct. No, I could definitely go this route pretty quickly. You're right.
Yeah. So
It is
so
something to consider because he is kind of the best GL at the moment.
yeah, he's kind of good. What are you thinking on ships? Because I got a interesting idea for you on ships as well.
Well, so what happened with ships is because I built Geos into uh, Negotiator. I'm still working on finishing these guys up for Malevolence, and my plan is to take Grievous to Relic 7. All right, and kind of, so part of the problem I ran into with not relicing all my teams is that I don't have some of these teams where I would have taken them, if I wasn't trying to keep relics down. So now that the kind of the cuffs are off, right, I want to
Yeah,
improve some of these teams.
sure.
Um, but I plan on finishing them out. And the plan then, because the Geos rotated over here, was I'm going to get the bounty hunters up, go unlock the Millennium Falcon, finish out the Rebel team, and then use kind of a Sith, Empire team, basically with TIE Fighter, Gar Saxton, and TIE Bomber. Um, with bounty hunters as kind of the reserves, because that kind of builds towards executor. Once I can finally farm the Razor Crest and finish this, I can finish that fleet.
Okay, fair enough. Well, Kenobi gets you Bo-Katan so that your Gauntlet Starfighter characters have a team. So there you go.
That's
more reasons.
Well, that's a pretty strong reason, because this ship is undervalued and it's very good.
Yeah. So if you actually have a place to put the characters, it's even a bonus. So here's the thing that I've been talking to some people about. You have BTLB for the negotiator. I didn't see it yet, but
yeah, it's down here.
Okay, perfect.
These ships are all done basically.
Awesome. So here's something that works shockingly well, and especially against people with weaker fleets. If you put your malevolence on offense and you save back that Hound's Tooth. So first of all, I never deploy Plo with the defense. So I almost always put my negotiator on defense, and I never put Plo in there. So you could start out with like Anakin, Rex, BTLB, or the Umbran, or however you want to set this up. But I would save back Plo. And then on offense, what you do is you take your malevolence and you put it with... you going to Separatists?
Yeah, I went right by it.
Yeah. So with the malevolence, you start out with the Hyena Bomber and Vulture Droid like normal in your starting lineup. But then you put in something like your Hound's Tooth as the third ship. And then for reinforcements, you can put in Plo or, some alternate reinforcements, whatever you want with the malevolence against the opponent you're against. And again, if you have it on offense, then you're in control of the matchup. And that can be your cleanup fleet, right? And then your Geos are completely free to go with another team. So you can run like Tarkin with the Geos and a couple other ships as reinforcements. And if they have their negotiator on defense, well, then you just use the Malevolence fleet as always.
Yeah, and I've got him gear 12 already, so
yeah,
that would work.
Yeah, so that Malevolence works with anything, right? Like, of course, it works better with the Separatists, but all you have to do is just put lumps out there that don't die, and it can beat just about anything with it just tanks. You could even put like that Rebel tank in here if you don't have the Rebel fleet built yet. Just reinforce with tanks and just keep the Malevolence on the field, get the ult off, and kill everything.
Yep. Well, problem I've been having, this fleet actually punches up a lot. It's pretty incredible how far this fleet can punch up, because I don't have these two ships finished, and I can take out a 500k negotiator no problem.
Exactly.
But I find that I have to have the Houndstooth in as the last, because I can't put all the reinforcements in this ship because it's not 6 stars yet. So
right.
I end up having to drop the Houndstooth in because these guys end up dying off. But once these guys get up, and get finished, that is a good way to get another fleet out of this.
Yeah, and like I said, if you're carrying it on offense, then if you needed to beat that 480 GP negotiator, you just play it like normal. If you don't,
my negotiator's on defense on this account pretty much 100% of the time.
Yeah, me too. I do the same thing.
My best fleet is almost always on offense, frankly.
So you consider your Malevolence your best fleet?
Yes.
Interesting.
Or I'm sorry, my negotiator is what I meant to say. It's always on defense. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because it's finished pretty much. I'm not doing much more to it.
Yeah, I always feel like with the negotiator, it's nice because the AI plays it pretty well. So you just kind of put it there and make your opponent beat it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like having played it as much as I have in Fleet Arena and playing around with different lineups, I've gotten good at looking at my opponent's fleets and putting in the most difficult version of the fleet as well. And kind of understanding the nuances of, well, if I put Ahsoka in as, with Anakin and a tank or Rex, like all these ships can be different starting ships and really have a big effect on winning and losing in GAC.
Yeah, like if you expect them to bring their negotiator on offense, you probably use the Umbran Starfighter and stuff like that, or how do you set that up?
Yeah, or if I think they're going to have Malevolence, I'll usually put Rex.
Yeah,
If I think they might
nice.
bring in, let's say Rebels, then I would put Ahsoka in as an example.
Nice. Brilliant. Okay. So, yeah, Empire fleet's good. The Rebel fleet's good. What are you thinking about for a Mon Mothma team? Are you planning to build something with her?
Well, that was kind of the next steps, right? I was, you can see I want to continue to. I've approached this account much differently than I did my main account. My main was ultra focused, one kind of team at a time. And at this account, I'm kind of working on all of these things that are in here. If these characters aren't up to gear 12, gear 13, I'm still kind of putting gear on them depending on what they, what teams need in GAC.
You find that to be more fun than trying to be good? I don't mean that to sound like it did. So I know,
Ah,
because that's exactly the struggle I have. My main account, I really want to be competitive in territory wars and territory battles and help with all the guild stuff. And I feel like all these obligations to have a good account. And my alt is just fun. Like, you can just have fun with it.
pretty much. Yeah, that's kind of been the thing. And since I wasn't putting high relics on, all my energy could go to gear and really building a much wider roster.
Yeah.
But
Man, you committed all
uh,
those Geos to Relic. That's fantastic. That's
well,
awesome.
pilots, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, I love it.
That was that's why I need to kind of fill the gaps in because I had to do the pilots first. But I really want to finish this bounty hunter team, for instance. But I think the changes, as GSC comes, as I start winning and moving my way up, eventually I'm going to hit so many Galactic Legends that I'm just going to feel the pressure,
Yeah.
of needing one. But I'd love to elevate all these teams. I won't probably take all these guys to gear 13, but I want them like gear 12, for instance. But you can see a lot of this, when I built the account, I was not really focusing on relics. I was just like, okay, I'll take the characters that I need to gear 13, and if the team's doing what it needs to do, then I'll just leave it alone, and I'll work on a different team.
Now, I think what you've got is fantastic because as you're scrolling through these teams, you've got a lot of stuff with, a team with like one relic, one gear 12, a couple relics. And I feel like those teams are very successful in Grand Arena because you just have a bunch of teams that are at a good level, and you're almost ready for anything, right? Like whatever the opponent puts down, you can stretch your roster out in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I think it's important when you're planning the teams to really look through your roster and making sure every character kind of has a home, for what you want to do with it.
Yeah, putting Nest on a defensive team though, it's kind of making me twitch a
That
little bit.
probably won't happen. She solos something on offense all the time, but these are the best, excuse me, versions of this team on defense.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
I thought I'd play around with it some and see how
yeah.
I like it. You could put anybody in here, really.
Yeah, my two favorite characters in the whole game are Enfys Nest and Kylo Ren Unmasked. I just love those two characters.
Yeah, crew is a pain. That's why you need that bounty hunter team. So
Yeah, to get the
yeah,
evaporate on him. Yep,
exactly, or good Treya or something like that.
yep.
But you can see I've kind of planned through this, and my goal was just to kind of keep working towards BAM and start working on Jedi or Darth Revan, and as I got Revan and Malik done, I would keep working all these teams up slowly, and I never had any intention. I will say I threw this one in just because my main's never going to get around to this anytime soon, and the team's fun, so I wanted to build it.
Yeah, and like you have them here, they're already nasty like this.
Yes.
Hey, another thing on my main account, I've been playing around with my teams getting set up for this next Grand Arena, and I built a team with Padme and the four Bad Batch, and
That sounds fun.
it, yeah, my Bad Batch are all garbage, but like I've been playing around with it in Conquest, and I'm beating like Relic 6 teams in Conquest with Padme and Gear 10 and 11 Bad Batch. It's impressive what those lads can do.
Yeah, I'm working on them. I haven't gotten their abilities up yet, right? That's the only thing holding
Yeah,
them back right now. I've been getting the gear on them and getting stars when I have extra energy, but I'm with you. I've watched this team at 3 stars. As long as you can get their gear to a decent level and get most of their abilities on, they can smash a fully relic first order team, no problem.
yeah, it's impressive. All
Well,
right,
and to your
so
point, having a team that can punch up big time with little investment is huge for Grand Arena.
so what's your goal then? So you're at Bronzium one by placement, and
Hmm.
I think we both agree with the quality of your account. You'll very quickly be in Chromium. A little bit support on fleets, you'll easily be able to hold on even with 4 fleets. You're ready. You're more ready than most people at 3 million galactic power are by far. You'll have even fleet advantage, I think. So then, how far do you think you can rise?
I think the width of the roster and the way I've built the teams, having, basically I've looked at every team I've built, been like, what counters something I'm probably going to see in Grand Arena. So I think I'm going to be able to go pretty high, but then I'm going to start running into accounts that have everything, and my fleet advantage is going to go away. And at that point, I have to catch up a little bit. And that's why I think I need, to get the Galactic Legend. And then I should be able to get past all those people. And once I can get past them, I'll be able to continue rising until I start hitting people with 2 Galactic Legends. And at that point, I'm going to have to go get another one, I think.
Yeah, I think with the width of your roster, um, if you just kept building what you've got and built toward a galactic legend, I think you'd easily push up mid Erodium.
I could see that.
Because I think you can field a lot of teams. You got a lot of teams.
This
So
account almost does better placing defense than my main account does in some ways, because
yeah,
did build it so much wider.
yeah,
I can put some pretty nasty trap teams in the back, that are gear 11, gear 12. They don't necessarily have to be relic to do their job. They just need to be a pain and difficult to deal with.
exactly. And your opponent just runs out of offense. That's
Correct. Yeah, yeah. I like to have a fleet advantage so that they can't be my fleets, and then I like to put, at least with this account anyway, I like to put teams in the front to suck out all their good teams, and then I put teams in the back that aren't great if they were in the front, but are a pain to deal with once, all their meta, their good stuff's gone.
yeah. Once you've weeded out the good stuff. Oh, that's
Correct.
fantastic. Is there anything else you wanted to cover while we're chatting?
No, I thought your viewers might, like to look at an account that was built more on an efficiency perspective, low relics, not, basically throwing like a relic 7 Django on a team like this, and was kept smaller on purpose. You know, um, these changes, like I said, really kind of took the handcuffs off, right? I can start pushing all these relics up, and I've got a year's worth of hoarded gear, that I can convert into relic mats, and really push it up and elevate all those teams I was showing. But
Yeah, you'll have all the bronzium wiring that I wish I had.
yeah, I've got tons of that on this account. I understand my main is feeling the pressure on that. So
Yeah. Nice. That's great. Well, you'll have to keep us updated on how you do in the new system. Well,
yeah, absolutely.
I think we'll wrap that up here. Thanks a lot for joining us. It was fun to kind of snoop through your account, and I mean, maybe one last thing, just real quick. Talk to me about mods on your account. How do you feel like you're doing with? You said this is a pretty much free to play account, but
Hmm.
how well do you think you've done with your mods in this account?
I would say exceptional at this point. I mean, I've been focused on them since the day I started the account. So most of my opponents that I've run into, I have a very large mod advantage typically.
Nice. So, how many characters do you have over 300 speed?
On this account, let's see, that's a good question because I haven't even literally remodded or looked at it in a long time. I don't
Padme's
even know what she's
fast.
at right
Holy cow.
now.
348.
I don't know.
She,
My Revens, did I organize by speed? Yeah, no. He's down at 266.
66.
Yeah.
Let's look at the Rex. Where's the Rex at?
Oh, my Rex, he's not filtered. Where
Up
is
up
he?
top. He's up top. He's fast.
Okay, where was he
He's
at?
like number 4. So 301. So you've
Yeah.
got at least 4 characters that are above 300 speed.
Yeah.
Nice. Good. That's all.
No, I work on mods quite a bit.
And he's got that speed without a speed set.
Yes.
Wow. Nice. That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah. Now, I mean, as it is, like Gaz is coming up, eventually he's going to steal some mods away from people and stuff like that. So,
as you would expect. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. But no, yeah, that Rex is fast for not having a speed set and being over 300 speed. That's impressive, man. I was stoked about that. That's awesome. Because you go into Grand Arena and you look at your opponent's gas team and he's like 213 speed and you're like whatever. Like that's not going to be a problem. You look at him and he's like 301 speed and you're like, okay, what am I going to do here? That's great. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap the video up there. Thanks a lot for joining us and sharing your account with us. I appreciate it. And really curious to see how you do in the new system.
Yep, I'll let you know.
All right. Thank you all for watching. Remember to like, subscribe if you haven't done that stuff already. Hit the notification bell to watch more videos like this in the future. And join us over on the Discord. We got a wonderful Discord. Have all kinds of conversations like this, people asking questions and getting advice, and lots of experienced players over there giving good advice. So join us over there. We'd love to see you. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next Holocron.